call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Wilhelm. I will be filling in for Mayor Jacobson, who is in sunny Cabo on a much-deserved vacation. So we'll try to get through this without too many bumps in the road. The first thing that we would like to do, have a roll call. Shannon?
Thorson?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
Malloy?
Here.
Wilhelm?
Aye.
Henderson?
Aye.
Borders?
Here.
Okay, and the next thing, we do have ceremonies, announcements, appointments, and presentations. We do have an Eagle Scout presentation, and I would like to invite Tyler Rotchford to come forward, please. So congratulations, first of all, Tyler. Years ago, former Clay Larkin, our mayor, he made this presentation for Eagle Scouts. And so every young man in Post Falls who makes Eagle Scout comes to City Council and does get an award for that. Tyler constructed a bridge for the walking path at the Post Falls Senior Center for his project, correct? So on behalf of Mayor Jacobson, the City Council, and the citizens of Post Falls, we would like to say congratulations on attaining the highest ranking within Scouting, the Eagle Scout. The realization of this outstanding achievement will undoubtedly lead to successes and accomplishments throughout your life. Best wishes from us all. I did a little bit of research over the last couple of days since I knew I was going to be here. And it's very interesting to note that only 4% of all Boy Scouts attain this Eagle Scout designation. Since 1912, there have been 2 million young men who have attained the Eagle Scout qualifications. So if you do the math, I think that's about 96 million who do not attain this. So you are in very good company, Tyler. We congratulate you very much. This is a buck knife, and your name is spelled right on the knife. It is engraved. Be careful with that, and congratulations from the City of Post Falls.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Sam.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, and now announcements from the mayor. April 5th, the 12th annual tree giveaway is this Saturday, April 9th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. down at the park. The trees being offered can be found on the city's website at postfallsidaho.org. Over 30,000 trees have been given away at this annual event over the years, and it couldn't take place without the urban forestries and park staff and volunteers and the generosity of our major sponsors, JUB Engineers and Pioneer Title. We would also like to recognize the following sponsors: Findlay Post Falls, Idaho Veneer, Wilbur and Ellis Starbucks, Boy Scouts of America, Donut Dugout, the Subway, Cannon Hill, Northland Nursery, Idaho Master Gardeners, Post Falls Lions Club, Super One Foods, Cooper Fabrication, and River City Chiropractic. So spread the word and let everyone know that each citizen can have up to 3 trees. So it's a very, very good program. And also, Corbin Park was voted Idaho's best disc golf course in the Inlands Readers Poll. So congratulations to the Parks Department, Dave, and that is a well-deserved award. So thank you. And then I just have one thing I would like to bring to the citizenry's attention, and that is the 2015 crime report analysis came out just a couple of days ago, and our chief of police is going to put that on the PD's website, and he's also going to send that to Kit, our media supervisor. She's going to put it on the Post Falls website. Very impressive. I read through this over the last couple of days. In every category, crime has gone down in Post Falls. So this is a very important document, and I would stress that, you know, you read it and you can be very proud of our police department. So thank you very much, Chief Hogue, for that. All right. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
We have 2 amendments to the agenda tonight. The first amendment is to add under ceremonies, announcements, appointments, and presentations, a presentation by Chief Hogue for the Post Falls Police Department. And item 2 would be to add an executive session for land acquisition.
Do I need a motion for that, sir?
Yes, so because we're amending it at the start of the meeting, you need to make a motion to amend the agenda to include those 2 items and state in the motion the reason why it couldn't have been put on the agenda initially. I know in the case of the land acquisition, we received some late information after the agenda was posted. That's the reason why we're amending it at this point and why it wasn't included initially. The other one, I'm assuming.
The other item was planned from the police department side to be on this agenda, but did not, the information did not make it to the city clerk.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, can you take the roll?
Thorson?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Malloy?
Aye.
Henderson?
Aye.
Borders?
Aye.
Wilhelm?
Aye. Okay, so that motion passes. And so I guess then if it's going to be in ceremonies, announcements, and appointments, Chief Hogue would be up right now. So, Chief?
Well, Council, good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity to stand before you tonight on short notice. I'd like to have Officer Koontz come forward if he could. You know, we expect our police officers to do some extraordinary things. We expect them to respond to situations and deal with situations and see things that human beings should not have to see or should not have to deal with. And a lot of times they do this with little or no recognition at all. When they run into a situation that most of us would run the other way, they do that because of their commitment to law enforcement. They're willing to put their safety in harm's way to ensure that ours stays intact. But there are some occasions where I feel it's extremely important that we draw it to your attention as well as the community's attention when our police officers go above and beyond. And so I wanted to take this opportunity tonight to recognize one of our team members at the Post Falls Police Department who I'm very, very proud of, to recognize him for an incident that happened recently. And I'd like to take just a minute and read you a memo that was written by our awards committee about Officer Koontz's actions. On February 26, 2016, just after 2:30 p.m., with multiple calls rolling into 911, Officer Koontz was dispatched to the area of Interstate 90 on the eastbound overpass above North Spokane Street in Post Falls here. Callers advised an adult male with a crutch was on the interstate guardrail with his feet dangling over the edge. Officer Koontz arrived on scene and hiked up to the top of the off-ramp, where he indeed observed the male now leaning over the railing and staring at the street approximately 25 feet below. Walking closer to the male, Officer Koontz called out through the noisy traffic to gain his attention and hopefully coax him back so that he could talk with him. However, the male seemed to ignore Officer Koontz's presence until he became within physical reach. Then the male suddenly climbed over the railing. He sat precariously on the edge before starting to slide back or downwards in an attempt to jump. Officer Koontz swiftly lunged forward, grabbed the back of the man's sweatshirt, and safely pulled him backwards onto the shoulder of the highway. Officers assessed the male's condition and then transported him to protective custody. Clearly, without Officer Koontz's immediate and skillful response, this male would have likely suffered serious injury or death. Officer Koontz risked his own life due to the close proximity of high-speed, heavy traffic moving along the interstate. He also risked falling over the railing himself along with the male when he grabbed for him. Officer Koontz demonstrated extreme professionalism and dedication to this community during a dangerous, intense incident. His actions honor our department and the law enforcement community. So for his actions in this event, I'm pleased in front of you and the viewing community to present Officer Koontz with the Post Falls Police Department Life-Saving Award. And that's a picture of the award right there that he can proudly wear on his uniform. So congratulations.
Thank you very much for that, Chief Hogue, and
No, sir.
congratulations. That's why we love this town so much. So that gets me a little choked up, sorry. Okay, the consent, or do we have any declarations of conflict?
Nope.
Okay. Present the consent calendar, ma'am, please.
Thank you. Item A is minutes from the March 15th, 2016 City Council meeting. Item B is payables March 8th through March 28th, 2016. Item C, contract agreement with Architects West for architectural services for the expansion of the Canine Control Center. Item D is Aspenwood Master Development Agreement Amendment, name change to Greensferry Grove. Item E is Miller's Landing Subdivision Master Development Agreement. Item F is Whiskey Flat Subdivision Findings of Facts and Conclusions. Item G is agreement with Password for one-call services. Item H is Miller's Landing Subdivision Findings of Fact and Conclusions. Item I is 7th Avenue Improvements DEA Scope of Work, Supplement Number 1. Item J is Greensferry Overpass Grants of Right-of-Way. And item K is Whiskey Flat Subdivision Master Development Agreement.
Are there any questions on the consent calendar?
Why are you looking at me? She looked right at me, because I always have questions.
This one's
And I don't.
This is
Okay.
pretty straightforward,
I have no
actually.
Oh, look at Joe.
All right. We would entertain a motion.
I'd so move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Could you take the roll, please?
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Borders.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. It looks like we have no unfinished business. At this time in the agenda, this is citizen issues. If anyone in the audience would like to step up and speak to the council, you have 5 minutes. Just come to the podium and please give your name. I don't see anyone running up here, so we're going to move on. We have no business. We do have ordinances and resolutions. First resolution for the comprehensive plan map amendment.
And I would make the motion that we approve the resolution for the comprehensive plan map amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please take the roll.
Malloy.
Aye. While I have no investment in Idaho Veneer Company, since that property is part of this amendment and my family owns it, I'm going to abstain from this one.
Henderson.
Aye.
Borders.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. The next is an ordinance on Beck Road vacation.
I move to place the ordinance on the Beck, excuse me, on the Beck Road vacation on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Shannon?
Henderson.
Aye.
Borders.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls Municipal Corporation of Idaho providing for the vacation of rights-of-way in Section 1, Township 50 North, Range 6 West, Boise Meridian, described herein, providing for disposition of the vacated rights-of-way as described herein, providing repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing severability, providing an effective date, and providing for other matters properly relating thereto.
So now I will move to approve the ordinance titled Beck Road Vacation, and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Clerk, can you take the roll?
Borders.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Motion passes. And the resolution, Community Development Block Grant Policy.
Well, I will move to approve the resolution on the Community Development Block Grant Policy.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Shannon, could you take the roll?
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Borders.
Aye.
Motion passes. Administrative and staff reports. We are going to have the Parks Department give a report on public playground safety policy. So,
Good evening, council. One moment here. What do we got going, Ken?
For those of you who have not met Brian Myers, he is our Parks Manager, and he'll be doing the presentation tonight.
Slideshow. There we go. So what we've got going is we've worked through over the last few months establishing a draft policy for your review and a set of procedures that really fill into the backside of this policy. What we're looking for is just some general information for you on how we're handling our children's play areas within the park system and providing some directions to staff on how to interact in these areas. But first, I'd like to just touch base on some general history within where our playground sites have been over the past years. Going back into 1990, we were at about 7,500 people, and we had 6 playground sites all the way up until 2000, when we were a population of 17,000. As we move forward into 2014, our park sites have grown to 13 parks that have children's play areas and a population of 30,000. So we've followed along that same growth curve, playground area to population generally, as the city has grown. 5 of these park sites have come online since 2005. So we've seen a large amount of growth in that near term. This coupled with Post Falls becoming a younger city as compared to the state, and our current population right now, the demographics generally follow about 40% of households have a student or student age 18 and under. So that's our primary target for these playground areas, are 2 to 5, 5 to 12, and then the parks generally. You see some kids that kind of on the shoulders of that 12-year-old age group that are moving along in those areas as well. So the playground safety policy statement is an outline for how we're going to address these unsupervised public playgrounds. And they outline how we're going to conduct inspections, perform maintenance, how we're going to document those inspections and repairs that happen over time, and establish a consistent signage so that individuals can understand what this environment is established for and who the intended audience is for these sites. It addresses what accessibility standards we're going to adhere to when we look at new purchasing of equipment and upgrades to existing facilities, and provide some documentation or guidelines for how we're going to follow that process and bring new playground sites on and have that reviewed by you folks. Why are we even put in the work to have these sites to begin with? Play is important. It's how children learn. You know, it is the work of children is something I've heard said, and I'll reiterate. It's a highly effective tool for building community. It's a location where children can begin to interact with each other and learn how to play with others and learn how to get through issues together. And it's also one of those areas where parents can begin to gather throughout the generations, and you can see those interactions happen. And then the physical benefits of active play versus the computerized world, and encouraging those environments. So we're trying to address hazards so that parents can feel safe to let their kids go and use our facilities. And that's the goal of these policies and procedures, is that it would be expected that these facilities, when they arrive, are at a consistent standard. So the guiding documents within the industry that drive this policy and the duty of care, if you will, for playground safety environment are Consumer Product Safety Commission's Handbook. This is the document that when we go to class and earn our certified playground safety inspectors within the park system, this, coupled with the American Society of Testing Materials, ASTM 1487, those two documents really drive that whole course. And we spend 2 days in a class learning about these and going out on a facility and doing inspections and seeing the different test gauges and probes that are used in the field to determine whether or not a hazard is present and those sorts of things. Within the state of Idaho, there is a general health and safety standard for playgrounds, parks, and sports fields, and those do generally follow the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission's standards. There are some variances there, as the standard was adopted in '97 and appears to have not been updated since. So some of those standards there's some conflicts. So we have to, as professionals, play those two documents together to ensure that we're providing a safe facility with what current testing of average child size and scale of equipment, and make those judgments as professionals. So when you get into inspections, what are we looking for? We're looking for, first off, proper surfacing, because we know that the majority of incidents that cause life-changing or life-ending injuries falls to the surface. We're looking for adequate use zones to reduce the possibility of conflicts from users on the facility with another passerby or a user of another adjacent piece of equipment. We're looking for entrapments, which could become or entanglements, things that could cause somebody to become stuck at a position where their feet may not be able to reach the ground, or those sorts of things. Protrusions, items that are sticking out beyond the structure in such a way that they would cause a potential life-threatening injury. And then changes in the environment. Did somebody drag a picnic table in? Did something change on the site as compared to the day before? Those routine daily inspections are happening and have happened over the course of the recent history of our park system. Generally, those happen by an individual taking care of additional chores within the park that you'd expect, emptying trash and cleaning bathrooms and those sorts of things. But on a more focused basis, as a part of this policy, we're going to be doing additional low-frequency inspections by somebody that's been trained by a CPSI and documenting those as such. So that's one of the slight modifications. Those inspections were happening, we just didn't have a documentation form to really follow that through. And then on an annual basis or a seasonal basis, depending on frequency of use of the facility, we'll also be doing a more detailed inspection. Not quite an audit, which is something that's an actual term that's established within the industry that will only happen on a new playground installation or when there's substantial changes to standards. Within that, maintenance of equipment, documentation, again, that work order system that we're going to establish and how we're going to document those things, and making sure that those things are documented on a site history so we can paint a picture of how we are acting in these environments to help reduce some of those potential liabilities if an incident were to occur, to show that we are in fact managing these sites responsibly. And I believe we are. We really are doing a lot of these things already, and have been for the last 5 years within my time with the city. And we're really just, the back end office paperwork and documenting these things is really the big things that we're changing within these procedures that we're asking you to review. And if they're appropriate and if you have no questions, we'll bring those back forward as a resolution at a future meeting. So with that, I'd stand for questions and comments on the policies and procedures.
There are 13 parks with playground equipment. Out of how many parks?
Dave and I go back and forth on this a little bit. I call it 29 because I count Tullamore already, although it hasn't been adopted yet. So
Where's that?
Tullamore Park is one that's been deeded. The land has been deeded to the city. There's a portion of that we have maintenance responsibility for. The park isn't developed yet, so
There's
it's not a
28
park
now.
yet, but it is a maintenance area. So 29.
Anybody else?
I've got it.
Carrie?
So we didn't have a specific policy before this?
We have not had a specific policy before this. So we do have CPSIs on staff and have for quite some time, since at least 2010, and I believe before that.
Thank you.
How many CPSIs do you have?
Right now we have 2. We've had up to 4, and we've got another gentleman that's about ready to sit for that test. That's a new employee and has attended the class. So he has the training, we just haven't gone through the process of sitting for the test yet. And I anticipate in the next 6 to 8 weeks that will happen. So.
Al?
My question's for Warren. Whenever we build structure around a policy or something like this, does it help us or can it come back and bite us? Because now we're saying we're going to do all these things, and if we, for whatever reason, don't do all those things, does it open us up to liability? Or
I
if
guess
we
the
hadn't
quick answer
stated-
is yes. I think it's good to have policies. It helps make sure that you're guided in what you're doing, that you're actually, following through on the things that you should be doing. It sounds like, and what I understand from our Parks Department is most of this has been done all along, that's been their practice and procedure is to make these things happen. The step now is to essentially document what you've done, which is always a good thing. If you can document that you have consistently inspected your equipment, if there ever, God forbid, something happens and there is an incident and you can document that you've done everything you can to maintain it and you've followed your policies, that's a good thing. The double-edged sword is, of course, if you adopt a policy and you don't follow through on it, that opens up some questions for you.
Is that it?
So I guess I would encourage Brian to follow the policy.
Anybody else?
I do have another question. Under Section 9, under your employee requirements, you list a level or a structure, if you will, of certification or qualification, if you will. Under Level 2, you have the CPSIs, but under Level 3, which I would think would be a higher level, you don't have any requirements for certification.
Right. So in those scenarios where we're purchasing new equipment, we will have CPSIs. I am myself one,
Okay.
and I'll be involved in those discussions. Where that comes into play is, I don't want to pin Dave into those requirements when we're looking at a new purchase, because Dave has other responsibilities that aren't necessarily just tied to the playground environment. And that's where that added flexibility adds itself, and we didn't want to pin ourselves down in that way.
Okay, that answers that.
Is that it?
I got one more.
Okay.
I was just looking for that, and there is no Section 9. Or did I miss it?
Sorry, 11.
Yeah.
How about 11?
You were referring to 11, but I was looking for 11, or looking for 9, and there is
Is there
no
no 9?
Is there any reason why there's no Section 9?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's the secret
That's all
stuff.
the secret covert stuff.
In case we need to change something in the future, no.
Okay.
No, we can make that modification. Generally, the procedures are something that are going to happen on the back end, and we'll monitor those. And what we're really looking for is an adoption of the policy statement on the front end. And those procedures are supposed to spell out how we're achieving that policy within our operations. So the policy statement provides a little more flexibility, and the procedures are how we're addressing those individual items.
moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Brian. So what I feel like we're looking for here, and correct me if I'm wrong, a motion to bring back this policy as a resolution, is that correct?
That's correct.
So we would entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Shannon?
Borders.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye?
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, moving forward, mayor comments. Ron didn't send me anything, so I would say that he probably doesn't have any mayor comments, and I don't have any comments. And now council comments. Does anyone have a comment? Al?
I have a question, I guess, for Russ, and that was, the last meeting, we talked about Mr. Flowers was going to meet with Avista. We were going to do some chip sealing on, there was kind of an open question. We were still working with Avista. We moved that forward any?
Councilman Wolf, we have had an opportunity to meet with Avista. They did state that they've reached out to Mr. Flowers on a couple different occasions, but hadn't been able to make contact with him yet. As far as the Avista project goes, we believe at this point that it's been determined that they're not going to participate in the fix of that project, that the city will be responsible for that, fixing those streets. We have readjusted our chip seal program to accommodate fixing those streets this year as part of our chip seal program. There's a couple of the streets that will be resurfaced over the next couple of years that we're going to obviously not spend any money on. So that's the update.
Do we have any leverage at all whatsoever to change that determination?
What we had found in our research on this project was that they did provide information to the city in regards to the project. This was a project that had gone on for a couple of years. Their techniques and procedures had changed from 2014 through 2015 and 16. So the impact on the streets was not anticipated to be what it turned out to be. So we can't say that we didn't know what was going on, and they're saying they informed us. We're saying we weren't fully informed. So we've kind of agreed to disagree and move on and address the issue. We're also, it's important to the city through other aspects to maintain the relationship that we do have with Avista for other reasons. And they've contended to us that they are also very interested in maintaining that relationship, and will look at potentially other opportunities to be involved with projects that are important to the city, and plan to look for other opportunities in that regard. So
There's more I could say, but I won't.
Okay. Carrie?
I just wanted to say Officer Koontz is gone, but Chief, when you were describing that incident, having seen what I believe was the body cam footage, is that what I would have seen?
Yes.
What was stunning to me was not just his humanity. You know, there are certain expectations when you put on a uniform, you know, that you could be in harm's way. But the incredible risk with that traffic, not a car slowed down from 70 miles an hour. And that was just a few feet wide where that was all taking place. And so the whole thing was, I'm so glad he received an award, because that really was uncommon valor in the line of duty. He ran the risk on both sides there from the traffic, so kudos. And that body cam, so they have it on all the time. So when they are on duty, when they step on duty, their body cam is turned on, activated.
So we have in-car cameras in our patrol cars, and then each officer is issued a body camera as well. So the way it works is when they make contact with someone, they turn it on. The battery only lasts about 4 hours, so they can't leave it on all of the time. But when they are making some kind of contact, enforcement or otherwise, they have a switch where they can turn that on. So that's how that happened. As soon as he arrived, he turned it on as he was making his way up there.
And there must have been body cam, because I believe I could hear his voice.
It was his body camera.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what that was.
So, yeah, excellent, excellent resolution, but it just does remind all of us on a daily basis, when you least expect it,
Yeah.
you're in a life-threatening situation. I hope that gentleman, that life is good for him.
Yeah. Certainly makes you proud, but I'll pass those comments along.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Anything down here, you guys? Nope. No, okay. All right, we do need an executive session, and I've been told that will be for about 15 minutes.
And I would move to enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code. Further, that no action be taken during this session, and the session will last no longer than 15 minutes. And it is to acquire an interest in real property which is not owned by a public agency.
Let me interject for just a second. That's under Idaho Code Section 74-2061C.
It is.
Excellent.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Shannon?
Thorson,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Henderson. Aye. Borders.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye. Okay. We'll be back in 15 minutes. Okay, do we have any motions to move forward?
To adjourn.
Adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you. Have a great